I know I'm not the first, and I certainly won't be the last, but this game I want to talk about today is being discussed by many creators for a lot of reasons. While I was away for 2 weeks celebrating the holidays, all I could really think about is what I'm going to talk about or what I'm going to say because there's so much more that's yet to be released. Without wasting any more time, let's deploy into the grasslands and look out for other players as we talk about GrayZone Warfare. And if you enjoy what you see today, be sure to sub to the channel. Okay, let's continue. But before I mention anything, I want to thank Rick, the head of communications over at Madfinger, for sending me the information for this game. Now, what's this game about? Why are so many creators talking about it? To put it simply, this is a tactical first-person shooter's wet dream. This game focuses on 3 things that come across really well in the trailers. First one is the realism of tactical first-person shooters. This game not only has PvEVP elements, but it'll also allow you to customize your weapons with real ballistics. You can swap, add, and even revise parts of your weapon for any situation you're bound to find yourself running into. And to maintain the realism aspect, they used real-world data of ammunition and protective materials and implemented that into the game. And much like other PvEVP titles, you're always risking your gear for either something better or for someone to take it off your body. Second is the atmosphere. Madfinger deemed this to be the limbo between good and evil, where mortality means nothing and no rules apply. With there being upwards of 48 players on one map and over 1,000 AI enemies, every person you interact with is a huge gamble. Even more so the closer you get to the middle of the map, because the further from the edge you get, the harder the AI are going to be. Third and finally, the sandbox. Madfinger are using everything in Unreal Engine 5 to create this colossal sized landscape inspired by Laos in a fictional Southeast Asian country. You cannot sit there and say that the map does not look good. Okay, because this shit looks absolutely incredible. Now, that's just a brief rundown on what the game has to offer, right? But when we dive into the backstory of the game, it becomes so much more badass. Now with this, I'm gonna do my best to simplify and shorten it as much as I possibly can so you get the gist of it. So here it is. A mysterious disaster strikes Lemang, triggering chaos and causing speculation. The United Nations Lemang Relief Agency, or the UNLRA, launches an evacuation mission, and most survivors leave within a week, prompting international quarantine. Lemang, left deserted, became a hotspot for criminal groups, sparking conflicts with the Lemang armed forces. 3 private military companies hired by powerful clients arrived at ground zero. Despite facing unexpected professional attacks resulting in losses, the PMCs, including you, a former Special Operations Forces member, recruited new mercenaries to reclaim territory and fulfill client tasks. The 3 PMCs are in Lemang to explore, discover secrets, and secure valuable items for their clients. As a member, you face a choice: follow orders for pay, or delve deeper to uncover hidden truths. Regardless of your decision, the journey won't be easy. There are also going to be a number of different traders that will not all be unlocked once you start playing GrayZone. The first trader is Anton Jackson, otherwise known as Gunny, a retired US Marine Corps gunnery sergeant. He is an awkward, truculent character who doesn't seem to like much anything or anyone. However, he is extremely good at what he does, hence why the PMC recruited him to help run their operation. And if part of that job means looking after the company's PMC operators, then that's what he's going to do to the best of his abilities. We then have Leia Huang, otherwise known as Artisan. She worked at her father's workshop since she was a little girl, learning all there is to know about machines and how they work. She blames the UNLRA for the chaos their arrival caused and thinks of the PMCs as opportunistic vultures scavenging whatever remains of value in her country. Despite this animosity, she offered her services as a mechanic. Naturally reserved and wary of others, gaining her trust could prove challenging. However, once earned, her expertise and knowledge of Lemang could become a pivotal asset. Next is James Miller, otherwise known as Banshee. He operates under a simple yet effective principle: anyone with the means to pay is a potential collaborator. He gladly brings in possible business partners for his various plans, setting up deals that promise gains for everyone involved. And I just want to add here that adding these diverse backstories to all the different traders really does bring an extra layer of life within the game. In addition to the traders, the early access release is going to contain upwards of more than 150 quests, with more being added down the road. What I think is dope is that they've actually got a military advisor on board to help them keep the realism as a priority. Now, you're probably thinking that this is going to be a game where you have to continue doing quests, otherwise you're at a standstill. No, That's not the case at all. In fact, you can still progress in the game even if you don't want to complete the quest. which I think is a huge win. It doesn't add that unneeded pressure of, well shit, I gotta do this one quest or else I'm soft locked from continuing any further. It's also noted that along with the quests, there are going to be optional items like notes, books, and newspapers that'll expand on the current story. Based on everything I've been presented with, I think this game is going to push the boundaries of a tactical first-person shooter in my honest opinion. However, the biggest question that everyone typically has is this an extraction shooter or is this an extraction royale? Well, I can confidently say that it's neither. And let me explain. Sure, there are aspects of this game that are similar to Tarkov, like the ballistics, the gameplay loop, and more, but I would say the biggest things that separate this from the extraction royale or extraction shooter scene in general is the fact that A, there's no time limit, and B, you're never really leaving the map. Madfinger is deeming this a session-based game, and pretty much what that means is that things like securing loot all take place on the map. Sure, you can call in a helicopter to take you back to your base, but you have to locate a fly zone in order for that to happen. Even then, you're not actually leaving the map. You're just cutting your travel time down. Let's move into the things that I absolutely like what I'm seeing here. To kick it off, I enjoy the fact that this game is going with the at your own pace approach, meaning that they're not forcing you to complete quests, they're not putting timers on your head. What they are doing is putting the ball in your court and letting you do what you want. I also love this idea of having everything you need on the map. You know, games that are similar to this one have one big issue. It feels a lot like high interval training where you have quick bursts of intense firefights and action, but a lot of downtime by going back to the menu, setting up classes, and so on. And not to say that this game won't have those moments, because it possibly will, but it'll feel like you're slowly going down instead of coming to a complete stop. One thing that I didn't mention that I want to give kudos to is their health system. You'll have the typical energy and hydration that you find in a lot of these games, but you'll also have to deal with broken bones, wounds, bruises, and even damaged organs. What's crazy is that if the player loses over 50% of their blood, the player will enter a coma. Your team then has 2 minutes to stop the bleeding and administer a blood transfusion, or that player is going to die. One thing that I hope for is that you'll be able to drag your teammates out of danger if they do manage to go down or do manage to go into a coma. That way you're not having to stop what you're doing just to help them out. I think that's about it I want to talk about for now. If you want to stay connected to Madfinger and get more updates on the game, I'll be leaving everything down below. For my final thoughts, I'm going to keep it somewhat short, sweet, and to the point, okay? I think this game is going to be absolutely insane and fun to play with a group of friends. Seeing how expansive the map is going to be, seeing how intricate the gameplay is, I can tell from a mile away how much passion and dedication they've put into this project. I also really want to give credit to Madfinger for everything they're doing, not only developing the game and letting many different creators like myself talk about their game openly and honestly, but maintaining a really good reputation while things are still being developed. Obviously, because of a recent indie game's actions, i.e. the day before, glad that fucking game is gone for good, people are constantly asking for proof that this game is real, which is just so damn unfortunate. I'm sure that Madfinger would love nothing more but to show everyone what they've been working on as soon as they finish it, but you gotta trust the process and trust that these guys are doing everything right to get this game out to us. And again, I want to thank Rick, the head of communication over at Madfinger, for sending me all the information about this game. I'm sorry that it took like a month and a half to get this video out. But I appreciate it nonetheless, thank you. And now I turn the mic to you. Let me know down below what you think about GrayZone Warfare. And while you're down there, go ahead and smash that like button and loot that sub button also YouTube can show you my content free of charge. This is Sir Blackout signing off, wishing everyone a happy 2024, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.